Learn to be super successful. Subscribe to my channel, Meathead.
For example, the recently managing partner for E&Y for healthcare practice for the United States. He managed the entire practice for E&Y, which is one of the big four accounting firms for the United States. His pension plan, and he's an old-time partner where they still had a pension plan, his pension plan is invested in healthcare. Not by him, but by whoever manages their pension plan. And that pension plan has probably got 3% or 5% or 7% of all the pension money they manage for E&Y and healthcare. And just like God made green apples, I would guarantee that some of that money is invested for him in healthcare. So he's conflicted. He can't be your chairman. So they should say subject to conflict. Now, we've had other people accept your offer, and then 3, 5, 7, 10 weeks later, they come back and say, oh, I'm conflicted. And that's a lie. It's because they got a better deal. You're going to hear the Viking bitch tell that story, I think, tomorrow or the next day. Now, he knew he wasn't conflicted, but he got a better deal than from the Viking bitch, who's bless you, who's one of my stars. So now you got a chairman. So now you've got an executive summary with a chairman. And you ask for their profile. Some of their resumes or CVs are as long as from here to the castle. So, and if they send you that, you don't want that. And so you ask them, well, is the profile that you have in LinkedIn, okay, sir? He says, yeah. Is the picture that you have in LinkedIn, okay, sir? Oh, no, I've got a promo picture. They've always got a picture. They're better on the left side, the right side. You can't cover up those bald fucking heads, though. You're just fucked, okay? Now, you don't talk to them like that. I'm not suggesting. I get away with a lot of shit. I say bad things, and I sound misogynistic to women. But I get away with it. You won't. You go to jail. You'll go to jail, okay? We had a kid 2 seminars ago who I talk about, finding people and going to their houses and not leaving the foyer or their office until I see them, and which is all true. Well, he did that, and he got arrested in New York City. He got arrested. And then the people that he was trying to see, or the guy he was trying to see, who I happen to know, he said, well, I should get you fired, but I'm not. He lied. He called up the CEO of the bank that he worked at. He worked at a bank, got him sacked. Most of the guys and gals don't do that. But occasionally, they do it. But that happens rarely. Okay, so now you got a chairman profile with a picture at the bottom of your executive summary. And you also ask them, by the way, now that you're part of the team, sir or ma'am, is there any additions you'd like to the executive summary? They like that. And hopefully not just because you got misspelled words. To say that the executive summary has to be reasonably accurate for sure. And, the King's English. You can't be sending them the scribbling shit, okay, or whatever language you're in. And they'll make some corrections. And now, when they say, young man or young lady, I can help you with the rest of the board. Thank you very much, sir, but I'd like to do it on my own because this is my project. But some of you are going to let him pick your CEO, your CFO, industry experts, in-house lawyer, in-house accountant. And you might as well give your soul to fucking the devil because you're dead. Because it's now his deal. But you're a lazy cunt. You've always been a lazy cunt. You've always engaged in self-sabotaging activities. You don't know any better. We had a nymphomaniac here a few years ago. Boy, she was a good-looking nymphomaniac. And on a one-on-one time, she says, I can't help myself, Mr. Peña. I just got to fuck 5 or 6 guys, whether they're 10 years old or 110 years old. I can't help myself. Well, you can't help yourself either, engaging in self-sabotaging activities. I don't know for a fact that everybody at that seminar fucked her. I don't know that. But if she was fucking 5 or 6 guys a day, in those days, we only had 20 in the seminar. Some of those guys were getting fucked more than once a day. But she said, I just can't help myself. She happens to be successful. She doesn't want a picture on the Hall of Fame, but she could be. Some of you can't help yourself. You've been engaging in self-sabotaging activities so long, you don't know any better. Your default is to step on your dick. Your default, when you come home, gals, for those of you that live with somebody, another person, and somebody else's panties in your bed, that's pretty tough to explain about. Why the guy allowed the panties? He was tired of you anyway. It's easier for you to throw him out. Okay, so now, next position, you're looking for CEO. The same drill vis-a-vis LinkedIn. And you'll get, some people, as you heard Simon Voss say, took him, I think he said he took 15 days to build it. 10 or 15 days to have a chairman, 20 days to have the board. You're going to get a scale that says how many days it should take you if you want to do a deal in 60 days. 60 days. From the day you leave here to the day the deal closes. That 60-day schedule is very difficult if you use commercial banking. Because commercial banking is going to take you between 6 and 20 weeks. 6 and 20. If all the T's are crossed and all the I's are dotted, 6 and 20. Whereas seller finance deal will take you, if you fuck everything up and you step on your dick and you step on his dick or her, 2 weeks maximum. Okay, so since and most of you are starving to death, 2 weeks sounds a lot better than 20, right? Yep. Yes, sir.
If the chairman or anybody on the board asks and suggests helping us build a board, should we immediately take them off the list?
No. Just some will just do it out of politeness, but some will have a secondary reason. Some, this, and maybe 3 or 4 or 5 times in my 29 years of doing it with you kids, that's happened and it's worked out. But almost all the other times it doesn't work out. And then you go crying on Reddit. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I have an existing line of credit in place to.
You have a what?
An existing line of credit in place at for my holding company to specifically to acquire additional assets with. Would that be an option as opposed to seller finance? Just take the deal out and then refinance it off that line, term it out. That's instantaneous. I have the capital right now. Well,
you're adding a step that doesn't necessarily. Most lines of credit have covenants how you can spend the fucking money.
This was specifically set up for my home.
Okay, well they're still going to want to look at the assets, and you probably personally guarantee the right. I haven't personally guaranteed anything in 40 years, and it's a lie that you got to personally guarantee, except for the SBA. SBA requires the doofus moron to guarantee it. But other than the SBA in America, you're going to hear people starting today and tomorrow that use non-recourse money, meaning that they can burn the money and they don't have to pay it back, and they don't guarantee anything. They don't guarantee anything. There's another hand. Yes, sir.
If you finance something like that versus seller finance, doesn't that kind of negate the motivation of the seller?
If you finance...
Wouldn't it show that they were less motivated?
Why?
If you had to finance a deal.
No, well, there's levels of motivation. Your significant other has pissed you off in the last year. I'm positive. Every couple in this room. Is that sufficient to throw them out or throw her out? No. There's some level of being pissed off and there's some level of motivation. Back when I was doing this full time, they used to say motivated seller to Peña is a guy limping from a stroke, pushing his wife on a wheelchair, and she's spitting up blood from emphysema. That's a motivated seller to Tan. I would rather them not. I would rather her in the hospital spitting up blood better than just in the wheelchair. See, there's a difference between, I said last night, a suspect and a prospect. For the most part, most of you people have been dealing with suspects that you want to convince to sell. If you have to convince more than, let's say that, I asked one of the girls, son, out for a coffee. To me, if she even hesitates, I walk away. I mean, she can't get, she's so surprised that I'm sorry. Yes, of course I would. If I don't get that kind of response, adios. And right now, see, you guys would try to cajole her into it. Convince her, bullshit her, lie to her. That's not what this model is based on. This model is based on raw fucking emotions. They either want to sell the motherfucker or they don't want to sell the motherfucker. Period. A lot of the people that said no to my kids, pre-corona, came crawling on their knees after corona got started. Are you still in the market to buy? Yeah. This isn't something we negotiate. It's just, it's the antithesis of your training. There was another hand. Yes, sir.
Have you had
I'm sure I have had, but go ahead.
Have you had a chairperson lie about their conflict, and does that create liability for your company?
Yes, it does. And they know right away whether they got a conflict or not. All the retiring partners, all the big four accounting firms, if they're an old-time partner, but see, in the old days, you actually had equity in the firm. Now you don't have equity in the firm. You're a partner in name only. You're not a partner because you own part of the goddamn business. So in the old days, they all had conflicts. But now, if you've got a guy that's got less than 30 years time on the job, he probably manages his own pension fund via a 401k. I'm talking about the U.S. So he either knows what the fuck he's invested in or not. And some of them will, and some of these guys get more than one offer because even though I only train about 150 to 200 of you a year, is roughly, there's thousands of guys out there. There's a bank in Connecticut that I don't know if he contacted Bruce Whipple or how it happened, but in 1 week he got 22 QLA pitches. 22 in 1 fucking week. The banker did. And there's certain areas of the world that we own because we've done it so much and we've been so successful. But there's 3 or 4 other areas. Greenwich, Connecticut is one of them that were the guys. No mas. They don't want anymore. But there's 500 or 600 banks in America. 585, something like that. They're not all like Bank of America on the corner of 5th and Main, but there's almost 600 lending institutions in the United States of America. And Canada is about 200. But they're not all on the, on the main street, or the high street, as they say. But the one thing that for sure now, there are going to be less people vying for that money because they don't want to pay the interest. A mortgage a year ago in this country was 2%. Today it's 6%. There was another hand. Yeah. Yes.
How to understand that person is qualified to be our chairman?
Well, first of all, you want not just qualified as chairman. The same qualification I come to at the end of the board, but I'm going to answer it because you asked me now. You don't have to explain about him. In the healthcare industry, his name is known. That eliminates 95% of the people. I gave you the Ben Carson example. Even people that aren't in healthcare, that are not in the United States, have heard of him, right? Now, I'm not puffing my own, but you have to go long and hard to find somebody in the financial world that doesn't know me. I'm a generalist, though. Even though I supposedly earned my spurs in oil and gas, I didn't learn a fucking thing in oil and gas 40 years ago. I didn't know a fucking thing. Now I know a bunch of stuff 40 years later, but I'm a generalist because I've been the chairman of a lot of different industries and I've done hundreds of transactions in 50, 60, 70 industries, okay? Those people are not the people you're looking for unless you're going to build a conglomerate. If you're building a conglomerate, you want a generalist. You want somebody that has been and seen the ugliness of 15, 20 different industries. I don't recommend, although we've got some very successful people, TK alluded to them when he was sitting here, or on the webinar when he was sitting here. But for example, the former head of the Johns Hopkins Medical School, retired. The former head of the Harvard Medical School, retired. The former head, Deputy Undersecretary of Health, Education and Welfare under Bush 1, Bush 2. You won't get the main secretary, but the undersecretary, Clinton, Obama, they're all broke, out of work. The former Surgeon General of the United States Navy, former Surgeon General of the United States Army, former Surgeon General of the United States Air Force, former Surgeon General Marine Corps. I think that part of the Navy. There's a gazillion. For those of you that a couple of you went to schools that, you don't have, I wouldn't brag about, but I mean, it's certainly not like us. The head of the medical school there. But they have to have done transactions. You don't want to get a hooker that's never fucked anybody. They have to have been through the gauntlet. Okay, how many transactions? 50, 100, 200? How long is a piece of string? You don't want them to be questioned. Like on my board back in the day, now I was chairman and CEO. I didn't get a chairman. I looked for a chairman. I thought the next acquisition would bring me a chairman. Okay? See, I wanted a chairman for a different reason. I wanted plausible deniability. I wanted somebody in between me and prison. I never found one. But on my board, we had the father of the North Sea. Remember, we're here in Britain. He discovered the first oil in Argyle in the North Sea, Robert Dyke. We had the former CFO of Royal Dutch Shell. We had this former CFO of Gulf Oil. We had the former head of exploration of Chevron. We had the former governor of New York, who was considered a financial wizard, that he saved New York and New York City from bankruptcy. We didn't have to explain about any of the pricks. They were all heavy hitters. And then when we were raising money here in Britain, and they turned to Robert Dyke, who liked to drink, God rest his soul, he said, he would just nod his head. He says, well, you heard Mr. Peña, do you agree? And he goes, I don't think he said 5 words. Some people thought he couldn't talk. He was so old, he couldn't talk anymore. So I told Bob, you gotta say something to these pricks. And he says, what do you want me to say, Danny? And then he said, I have never met anybody in exploration with more integrity than Danny Peña. That's the only thing he ever said. And the rest, I was just sliding down the hill of money to paradise. We were afraid that maybe he was going to say, but he said, thank you, Bob, and your relatives. Praise Allah. Okay, was there another question? Yes, sir, the back.
Yeah, just in regards to the chairperson in your industry, I thought that they didn't have to be from your industry or know your industry.
No, that you thought wrong. You can have them, but if you want to take the maximum effective use of the model, they come from your industry. Okay, so now you've got your chairman and your CEO. Now, nobody in this room is qualified to be your own CEO. Contrary, you may have run a successful business, all that bullshit, but you're all also rans. And I mean that positively. And I was yelling at my friend last night about, he's been pretty successful, but compared to what we're looking for, he's an also ran. So if arguably the most successful guy in the room is an also ran, where are you? So you want somebody you don't have to explain about. Now, I'm not the only CSUN alumni that is qualified to be a chairman, okay? But I'm one of the only alumni from CSUN that is qualified to be, a worldwide chairman. So don't be CEO. Now, some of you will say, well, I want to be CEO until I find the right CEO. Now, if you got some experience, that dog hunts. Andreas, we try to hire a CEO. We've done 25 deals now, and we still haven't found anybody worth a shit, or as good as he's grown into. Now he's a world-class CEO. Don't take it to heart, Andreas. I know you listen to these things. But so we're not looking anymore for a CEO. Feel better, Andreas? We're not looking for a CEO. But we thought, and normally within the first 5 or 10 acquisitions, you're going to find somebody that could be CEO. Now, another thing, these boards are in transition. These boards are not permanent. And when we talk about the stock that they get, and then more importantly, you're worried about the stock that you got to get back because you gave it to them one time, we're going to show you how to do it. And the kids use vesting. In other words, they get 1% now. In 2 years, they get 2 more percent. In 2 more years, they get 2 more percent. I don't like that methodology, okay? I won't accept that methodology. But 99% of the people that you're going to be recruiting will accept that because that's the 21st century modus operandi now. You don't get all your shit up front. Only old-time Neanderthals like me, because of my reputation and my success record, that, I'm not going to wait. Plus, I'm 77 now. I'm not going to wait fucking 5-10 years. That's bullshit. Now, that brings up an interesting point. Some of your guys are going to be near my age. And they may feel, when you get down, this is after they've accepted and this is down the road, and you're talking about what you're going to give them, they could get insulted when you say that you want to give them a 7-year vesting. The guy's 78. They may very well just say, thank you very much for the opportunity, but I pass. So you got to weigh that. And they're right. A guy 77, 78 doesn't want to wait fucking 7 years. Now, the other thing, since I'm talking about that, not everybody's in the deal till you want to exit. And I know a lot of the kids have found, it's called phantom option plan, where I'm giving you 5%, but only when you and I exit together. That's fine when you're 35, 40, 45, but that dog don't hunt, in poor English, when you're 65, 70, 75. Because you may be around 10, 15 years before you want to exit. So the older candidates, you have to give them the option. You don't have to do anything. But if you want to get quality people, you've got to give them the option that they can exit before you. Of course, they have to agree to a bunch of shit, how they exit. But if you're all 25 years old, that's fine. We're all in it to the end, either death or we win. But the guys you're going to be recruiting, with 2 or 3 exceptions in the room, are going to be all a lot older than you. And of course, you're paying them for their wisdom, expertise, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so now we've gone down to the CFO. Okay, you two, bye.